As I live and breathe.
I can't see that.
I actually cleaned up. Wow. I looked like I was in Hateful Eight like about an hour ago.
You cleaned up for this interview?
Of course.
Why would you do? But it's Corona time. I mean, this is the one time where we don't care. We just go like, you know what?
But when I saw you at the Academy Awards, and I was like, why am I never on your show? And you were like, oh, well, I was like, all right, now I have to look presentable.
What? No. Wait. Samuel L. Jackson, let's have this conversation again. The question you said was, when am I going to be on your show? I said, why have you never been on? You now going to make the public feel like I didn't have Samuel L. Jackson on my show. That is not how it happened. Samuel L. Jackson can be on my show, and you can host the show if you want.
Once a year. John used to invite me at least once a year so I could come in the studio.
I can't invite you when it's your home. You can come here anytime.
Oh, really?
You could come in and just like say what you feel about the news that day in one sentence and leave. I can't invite you to the show.
Really? I could do that? Oh. Wait till I get back to New York.
Oh man, welcome. I'm glad we're finally making it happen. I know we'll make it happen some more. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
You are a bona fide legend, sir. You are truly just the epitome of not just hard work, but like talent paying off, inspiring people in every way, shape, or form. Been in more than 150 movies, some of the greatest movies of all time. And I was shocked to find out that you had never produced anything with your production company with your wife. And I was like, I couldn't believe that this docuseries that we're talking about today was the first thing that you're producing. And I was like, man, it has to be special. And it really, really is. Enslaved is not just a special series, it's a personal series. Tell me a little bit about it.
When they came to me with the idea, it was about, finding these ships that had gone down, captured Africans on them that didn't make it. And, in my mind, I was like, okay, this is going to be dope. We get some divers and maybe I can dive with them, and go down and we'll find skeletons with shackles still on them and stuff like that. And then combined with finding my ancestry and going into Ancestry.com and finding out that I was tribally connected to the Benga tribe in Gabon. And there was a lot of the traffic that came through there. And what happened, it was a way for me to reconnect with my identity in that particular way and to tell a story that we never talk about, the people that didn't make it and what happened and how those people still profited from those people that did not make it.
Right.
They didn't make it to wherever they were going, here, Brazil, or the West Indies to work, but they still get money from these people's bodies being stolen from this particular place.
Right.
And it was a chance for me to do something which is so crazy in my mind when I think about it. When people would ask me, had I been to Africa? And I'd say, well, yeah. And they said, well, where you been? I said, well, I've been to Cape Town, I've been to Johannesburg, and I've been to Morocco, and Egypt. And they, oh, you haven't been to Africa? I'm like,
That's funny. That's
funny.
funny.
You haven't been to real Africa. I'm like, what you talking about? So I got to go to Gabon and hang out there.
One thing I've never taken for granted when I talk to some of my friends, African Americans, who say, man, Trevor, being stolen from your cultural identity is such a, there's a piece that you don't even realize is missing in just the story that you tell yourself about yourself. I wonder what that was like for you, going back to a place where you didn't only go, I'm from here, like my lineage is from here, but they said, no, you are a lost son of this tribe. What did that feel like for you?
Wow. It was, spiritually uplifting to connect with the tribe and to look around and see my relatives in a real sense of faces that I knew, or, and understand, and to be welcomed by some people that looked at me in a different kind of way, like
right.
Come home. And I'm there with these people and I'm looking at them and they're so open, they're so welcome. And the ceremony itself, to participate in that and to look in these people's eyes and see that, they really are, they're as proud of me leaving or what happened when I left as I am of being there with them and saying, I'm glad to be back here and be fulfilled by what this actually means, to connect with something that gives me a tangible connection to the continent. Occasionally, a lot of times when we were shooting this thing, when people start asking you how you feel, will you feel this way or do you feel that way? And it's like, I don't want you defining what I feel, because sometimes it's survivor's remorse.
Wow.
You know, that had that not happened, I wouldn't have reached this place that I reached here that allowed me to come back and tell this story. You know, what would have happened had I never, had my ancestors never been taken from that place and I was brought here. So you feel a different kind of responsibility because you did achieve what you achieved despite what this country is. Mm-hmm. And you are able to come back and hopefully encourage or tell a story that makes somebody want to go and see it for themselves.
You are somebody who has not just created history, but you've lived through history. And I really like that you say telling those stories. Reading through your story, I was amazed at how much you've lived through. Everyone focuses on your movies, but I look at the world that you've lived in. It's been like a movie. For instance, I didn't know that Samuel L. Jackson grew up with a stutter. I didn't know that about you.
If I try to fast, it comes back.
Right, but I also didn't know, and you'll correct me if this is wrong, I didn't know that sometimes you would use the word mother to just like get your mouth moving.
Yeah, to just center myself and stop.
You see, like there's so many things about you that I didn't know. I didn't know, for instance, that you went to MLK's funeral after he was assassinated, and I didn't know that you were part of those protests. And a lot of who you are has been shaped by that time. When you look at those protests back then, and you look at the protests that are happening now, and you look at the journey that Black Americans and Black America has been on for such a long time with its government, I wonder if you've seen something that gives you a glimpse of hope.
Well, there's an evolution of, protests when you look at it. When I was a kid, I grew up in basically American apartheid. I was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and, there were places I couldn't go. All my schoolmates were Black. I didn't interact with white people unless I went downtown. And when the civil rights movement began, or the sit-ins started, my parents and grandparents were like terrified, that I was going to go down there and get killed. But I was too young to go anyway. But by the time I got to college at Morehouse College in Atlanta, I started to meet and see and talk to people from SNCC, from SCLC, and I can make a differentiation about which idea I liked. And all of a sudden I had an ideology and the war started. So there was the anti-war protest.
Right.
Which I didn't know anything about the war. And the first Vietnam veterans I met were students at Morehouse, guys who had been in the war and they came back and they had hair like yours. And we were like, they had these black fists that they had made out of these cords, and they started talking about the war and what was happening. And then I had a cousin who was the same age as I was, who went to the Army and got killed. And all of a sudden, the war was very real for me. So I was in the streets for that, the anti-war protest. And the things that were going on, we understood them, and we could watch the old protests when they sick dogs on people and, hitting them with fire hoses and all that stuff. People were going, wow, this is America? And we were like, yeah, this is America. It's like us watching the apartheid, protests.
Right.
I met guys from South Africa came to Morehouse, and they were my classmates. So we learned more about apartheid because we had a personal connection to talk to people about it. So we understood that, it ain't just happening to us. It's some worldwide shit happening here. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, so we're brothers in arms, and everybody trying to, get free from these shackles that everybody's got on us that tries to keep us down because they want to keep the things. We started to understand that, change doesn't happen without, pain. And when I look at these kids today, I am so proud of them, number one. But what we need to understand and press on them is they're using your militancy to make the dominant culture afraid of you. Even you are part of the dominant culture. So you need to go home and tell your parents, your parents know that you're not dangerous. So you have to convince your parents to go out and tell these other parents that no, they're not dangerous. They're just trying to assert themselves and make the world a better place for them because they're going to inherit it. And this is what they need. And this is what we need to do to support them. So they need to, like, I'm not saying pull it back. All I'm saying is get those other people to prop you up in another way. And don't forget to go vote. You got to understand how revolutionary an act voting is. You can't just let that go. Oh, that don't mean nothing. So we're going to go out here and do this. No, man, go vote. You got to get rid of the dude before you can change the place.
Samuel L. Jackson, I appreciate you for existing. I appreciate you for taking the time to be on my show. Thank you so much, my friend. Look after yourself.
I'm running, but you messed up when you said I can come over there anytime and just say one.
Anytime.
Taking you up on that. Peace, y'all. Hey, please go vote.